So welcome to this session on ECG, electrocardiogram, something that everybody wants to know because it is such a vital thing, common investigation and treasure of information about the heart. So what does the ECG do and how should we study the ECG is a very important question. Most of the times when we go through MBBS curriculum, we start studying when you get a ECG in your hand, we start counting the number of squares to identify the rate of the ECG. But we realize that rate of the ECG is not the most important parameter at all. And today after this session, I assure you, you will be confident enough to diagnose all the disorders and solve the MCQs related to the ECG. So let's start by understanding few terminologies in the ECG. When we do ECG, we are not worried about the mechanism here. There are the chest leads, there are the contiguous leads and so on. We want to focus on mainly the identification, interpretation of the ECG. So what I am going to start with is the stepwise interpretation of the ECG. We are going to perform the stepwise interpretation of the ECG. It is extremely simple as you go along, you will identify. It is easy to note the ECG. So what we are going to do, we are going to make a small column here. On this side of the column, we are going to write the individual steps that we will do and then we will discuss them, come back to the table, discuss them and come back. So we have the entire list in front of us. The first thing when we get ECG in our hand is not to start counting the square, not to start looking at the waveform, but the first step is to confirm the validity of the ECG. The first step is to identify validity of the ECG. What do you mean by validity? Validity means you want to confirm the lead placement. You want to confirm proper lead placement. That is the first step of the ECG interpretation, because we all know that ECG you have to place the leads right hand, left both the legs. If you interchange the leads, the markers on the ECG will become completely opposite of normal and you may wrongly interpret as an abnormal ECG. So first thing, we want to confirm proper lead placement. How do we do that? If I tell you to draw the normal waveforms of the ECG, how do we draw that? We have got the P wave, we have got the QRS complex and we have got the T wave. Let us enumerate the points on these waves. What do each of them denote? The P wave is suggestive of the atrial contraction. The P wave is suggestive of the atrial contraction. That is the P wave. The first negative deflection is the Q wave, the R and the S complex. The QRS complex denotes the ventricular systole. The QRS denotes the ventricular systole will be there, followed by the T wave. The T wave suggests the ventricular diastole. Ventricular diastole. What are the segments here? The PR segment here is called as the isoelectric line of the ECG. So what do we have? The PR segment is called as the isoelectric line of the ECG. That is also called the baseline. So this is the baseline which you are going to compare the other changes like ST elevation, ST depression you are going to use along with the PR segment. This PR segment is called as isoelectric line of the ECG. These are the basic words that we must understand. So P, QRS complex, T and the PR segment, isoelectric line of the ECG is what we must be familiar with, right? Now going ahead, what we want to know, the PR interval is going to tell us about the AV conduction time. AV conduction time is what is denoted by the PR interval. So these are normal waveforms that you expect on the ECG, okay, because the dominant vector of the heart is towards the left. So when the left side is there, this is the normal waveform that you expect in the ECG. So how can you check for proper lead placement? Very easy. You want to check lead AVR. What I am going to do is I am going to check the lead AVR. In the lead AVR, what am I expecting? In the lead AVR, augmented lead on the right side. In the right side AVR, the dominant vector of the heart is normally towards the left. This lead vector is towards the right. So you are expecting the mirror image. Expected is to find the mirror image of the normal waveform. Is to expect the mirror image of the normal waveform. This is what is expected in the AVR. So what am I going to do? Number one step, validity of the ECG is checked on the lead AVR. And what I am going to see? For the P wave inversion, because what is expected? Mirror image of the normal waveform. So we are going to see inverted P wave and the QRS complex like this, inverted T wave is what is expected on the lead AVR. So I want you to focus your attention on this inverted P wave. So if you get inverted P wave in the lead AVR, what you can confirm? You can say that the lead placement is normal. So inverted P wave in AVR is suggestive that the lead placement is normal. This is how you are going to read the ECG. Lead placement is considered normal. It is very uncommon where there is retrograde conduction of the P wave to cause this abnormality. It is uncommon. What is the exception? What is the exception? So the other side of the story, if in lead AVR, if you get upright P wave, you get upright P wave, what does that indicate? Commonly it indicates that the lead placement is reversed. Lead placement is reversed, and the rare possibility that the patient has dextrocardia. Patient has got dextrocardia because in dextrocardia the dominant vector is to the right. So now the right sided lead will look like the normal waveform. All other leads will have inverted P wave. That is the important step that we must do. Very simple. Once you get the full picture, you will know how simple it is. The first thing when you get ECG in your hand, what you will do? Look at lead AVR. In the lead AVR, if the P wave is inverted, it confirms lead placement is normal. And in lead AVR, if there is upright P wave, what you will do? Auscultate the patient, look for dextrocardia. If there is no dextrocardia, you will send the patient back saying that the lead placement is reversed. That is the simple test that you want to perform to check for validity of the ECG. One step completed. After confirming validity of the ECG, you want to look at the P wave. You want to look at the P wave. The second step of the ECG is to look at the P wave. What is the best lead? It is the lead 2. The best place to look for the P wave is the lead 2, where you will look for the P wave. What do you get in the normal P wave? So first we are learning what is normal and what is abnormal. What is normal and what is abnormal is what we want to learn here. Normal and abnormal. So normal P wave in the lead 2, normal P wave, how it should look? Let me magnify this P wave for you. The first part of the P wave represents the right atrial contraction. The second part is the left atrial contraction. Normally, the P wave must be less than 2.5 centimeter in both the length and the breadth. It must be less than 2.5 millimeter in both the length and the breadth of the wave. This is what is a normal P wave. This is what is a normal P wave. This is how it is seen. Normal P wave. What are the abnormalities? First of all, what you will look at, number one point is the presence of P wave itself. The presence of P wave indicates sinus rhythm. End of story. The presence of P wave indicates sinus rhythm. You can directly confirm. So that is how we read the ECG. The P wave is present in lead 2 indicates sinus rhythm. Full stop. If the P wave is absent, so abnormality, absence of the P wave, what does it indicate? It is not a sinus rhythm. Absence of the P wave has got either it is atrial fibrillation. It is a atrial fibrillation. Here, technically, the P wave is not absent, but the P is replaced by the F wave. That is the fibrillatory wave. The F waves, fibrillatory waves will be there. For theoretical purpose, absent P wave is atrial fibrillation. Number 2, it could be nodal rhythm. AV nodal rhythm or idioventricular rhythm. Means it is not a sinus rhythm. Idioventricular rhythm can be identified if there is absence of P wave in lead 2. So what you have checked for? In lead 2, you looked for presence of P wave. Forget morphology. If P wave is present, means sinus rhythm. P wave is absent, means either it is atrial fibrillation or nodal rhythm or idioventricular rhythm. Clear questions are there. Going to the second point, that after the presence of the P wave, number 2, I want to look for the morphology of the P wave. Number 2, I want to look for morphology of the P wave. Morphology of the P wave, as we have written, normal morphology, it is less than 2.5 millimeter in both breadth and the width. In both the breadth and the width, it should be less. So height and the breadth should be less than 2.5 millimeter. If it is there, we can say it is normal. What are abnormalities that can occur? 2 abnormalities can occur in the morphology. 2 abnormalities can occur. Let us take it simple. 1, if it is a right atrial pathology. If there is a right atrial pathology or there is a left atrial pathology, how do we distinguish between the two? Right atrial pathology and the left atrial pathology can be seen on the morphology. You can make out easily. Right atrium is dilated. What will happen to the P wave? It will go lol and then come down to earth and go back to baseline. So what you can see, the first part, right atrial enlargement will be seen. Right atrial enlargement will be seen, and how does it look like? It is called as peaked P wave. It is called as peaked P wave. It is called peaked P wave. And what is the common cause? common cause is because of cor pulmonale. The common cause is because of cor pulmonale, hence it is also called P pulmonale. Hence it is also called P pulmonale. So tall peaked P wave is suggestive of right atrial enlargement commonly seen with cor pulmonale, hence it is also called P pulmonale. Right atrial problem. Left atrial problem, right atria will be normal, left atrium will be tall. So how we are going to show that initially the wave is normal, but then there is going to be peaking of the P wave. So this is what we are going to describe as a M-shaped P wave. M-shaped P wave, also called bifid P wave, and also called camel hump appearance of the P wave. Camel hump appearance of the P wave. All this mean the same. And what does it mean? Left atrial enlargement. This is suggestive of left atrial enlargement because one of the common causes is mitral stenosis. Mitral stenosis causes left atrial dilatation, hence it is also called P mitrale. Hence it is called P mitrale. These are the important points here. So when we look at first ECG, how to read ECG? ECG is in the lead AVR. The P wave is inverted, confirming normal lead placement. Once this step is done, I come to step number 2. In the lead 2, P wave is present, indicating sinus rhythm. The P wave is normal in morphology, indicating normal atrial chamber. If there is abnormality, we know what it is: absence of P wave, right atrial enlargement, or the left atrial enlargement can be picked up. Diagnosis can be given on the basis of these morphological changes. After the P wave, we come to number 3, that is the QRS complex. You will come to the lookout for QRS complex.